They show up every year, and we really appreciate it. And the Red Bank Reunion Band. Mr. Wayne Jones is a director. Bob Cunningham is the director of the Kalindi Pipes and Drums. We hope you enjoy our program and leave with a renewed appreciation of the sacrifices those we honor today. We will now have the national anthem by the Red Bank Reunion Band. Please stand.
Detail attention. Present all. Parade rep.
We will now have invocation. Please remain standing. Our chaplain, Gene Talbot.
Let us pray. Almighty God, Father of all mankind and Judge over nations, we ask you to bless this memorial service and to look down with favor and understanding upon the hearts of those who are gathered here and pay their tribute to those who have made the supreme sacrifice and for the benefit of all free men everywhere. The lives of those who paid the supreme sacrifice are glorious before us. Their deeds constitute a daily inspiration for those like ourselves who remain in their home communities. In God we trust, and may the faith of our fathers guide, protect, and sustain our people. Amen.
You may be seated. Our post commander could not be here. He's unfortunate that he has to work today, but I'm glad he's got gainful employment. I'll be thankful for that. By the way, that's Mr. Gary Glover. Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. We are now engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those here who gave their lives that the nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men living and dead who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note or long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they fought here to have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion, that the cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion, that we highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. I've got another note here I need to find. We have a special guest with us today representing Senator Joe Donnelly, Sarah Hamling, and we have a letter from Senator Donnelly. I won't read the whole letter, but we will later honor those from Post 8 who have passed away this year, but he sends us a list of Indiana Hoosiers who have lost their lives while serving in Afghanistan. And I think it's fitting that we should honor those people. Marine Sergeant Bradley W. Atwell from Kokomo. Army Sergeant Kyle B. Osborne of Lafayette. Marine Lance Corporal Alec R. Terwisky of Dubois. Army Specialist Sergio E. Perez from Crown Point. Army Specialist Nicholas A. Taylor of Berne. Marine Lance Corporal Hunter D. Hogan from Norman. And Marine Lance Corporal Joshua E. Witzman of Covington. We will now have our main address by Joe Misurata. Joe is the commander of the Retired Veterans Memorial Club, and he is also the commander of VFW 1113 this year, I believe. Isn't that right, Joe? Yeah, right.
Thank you very much for being here. It's a little different than what we had last year. Last year was so hot that we couldn't stay out here very long. So with that to be, this actually is the third program for me today. We done one program yesterday, the Retired Memorial Club at Campground Cemetery, and as I spoke there, I made a comment that we need to take a walk around our cemeteries. We do it as the Retired Veterans Memorial Club, that when we do funeral details, that we have idle time and we walk around and we look at the stones, we look at the dates on them. And this cemetery here, not only do we have our veteran section right here, but if you go up over this hill, you got the Civil War section there. And it's very interesting to look at them stones and just try to imagine what it was like back then, what they went through. It would be amazing. It would be amazing to hear them stories. But in doing that, I do have something here. Like I say, I want to thank you all for coming out. We remember these who died in service to their country on Memorial Day. As long as they live, ones have been lost to battle. Days have been set aside to honor them. In Civil War times, communities all over the country remembered their fallen townfolks as Memorial Day was unofficially celebrated in different times and in different ways in every region. May 15, 1868, General John Logan, National Commander of the Grand Army of the Republic, officially proclaimed Memorial Day as flowers were placed on the graves. of Union and Confederate soldiers in Arlington Cemetery. After World War I, the nation had a day to remembrance for those who had given their lives in armed services. With National Holiday Act of 1971, the last Monday in May became the official day to ensure a long weekend for the federal holiday. The Thursday preceding Memorial Day, soldiers of the 3rd U.S. Infantry placed small American flags at over 260,000 graves in Arlington National Cemetery. They keep watch every hour of the weekend to make sure each flag stands. All over the nation, families stand in silence above graves with fresh flowers to honor citizens whose service has kept us free. The movement from a day of remembrance, just a little long weekend, has weakened its hold on Americans' mind. Many would like to see the observance return to May 30th, the original day of remembrance. In Congress, in 2000, Congress passed a resolution called the National Movement of Remembrance, so that all Americans at 3:00 p.m. on Memorial Day might pause to remember those who died for our nation. Let us turn from the vacation frame of mind on Memorial Day long enough to acknowledge the greatest contribution one can give the United States, the gift of one's life. In concluding, take some time to think about our deceased comrades and the MIAs and the POWs, as well as the men and women who wear the uniform of our country. When you see them, please take the time to thank them, because they are defending our rights. I end there, and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Miss Diana Brokaw will now place a memorial wreath. She is the president of Auxiliary Unit Number 8. Roll call of the deceased members of American Legion Post 8 since Memorial Day 2012. Edward E. Ripplemeyer, George Benner, Martin Hicks, James N. Brooks, William L. Elpers, Willard Unfried, Robert E. Holman, George A. Dyke, L. B. Dockery, Una G. Fetcher, Edwin W. Bosicker, William Glenn Strong, Fred Goodman, John C. DeWalt, Harold J. Husk, and Henry G. Horseman. We now have a benediction by our chaplain.
Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, with reverence and love, we pause to pay tribute to our honored and comradeship with them. Hallow their graves. Give courage and comfort to those having suffered the loss of a loved one. Watch over the graves of our comrades. Grant eternal rest of their ashes, peace and happiness to their souls, and keep them till the hour of final reveille on that day when they are called before the divine commander May all of these men be presently counted for. Let us always honor the memory of those brave soldiers who gave the supreme sacrifice so we may have experience freedom in a country that is free. May our souls and the souls of all departed veterans rest in peace. Amen.
Officer of the day, your group will fire 3 rounds of blank ammunition in honor of the dead.
Rifle squad, attention! To the ready! Aim! Fire! Aim! Fire! Aim! Fire! Preset! On! Bugler! Sound taps! Order, calm, parade rest.
That concludes the formal program, but we play a little concert. If you want to stay and listen to some nice music, I know they would appreciate it. Thank you very much for showing up today. We do appreciate it. Makes it all worthwhile. See all those lovely people out here.
Thank you.